Yeah, hi, hello. Let us discuss about DevOps. What is DevOps? Today I'm going to show you what is DevOps in a PowerPoint presentation. It is nothing but PPT. See, what is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but it is the collaboration between operation team and development team. If you see here, you observe my screen. What is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but it is a software development strategy or process. In other words, it is a collaboration between development team and operation team. In order to reduce time consumption gap between development team and operation team, we have introduced DevOps. We can achieve continuous delivery as well as continuous deployment using DevOps. Okay. In earlier, okay, uh, before I switch into next slide, yeah, I have switched. For uh, for for creating or for introducing any project, any application into the market in the environment, in the production environment. First of all, there must be a software development life cycle. For building an application for software development cycle, mainly we require both two teams. One is development team, another one is operation team. It is it for building actually the develop what the development team and operation team will be doing this. The development team will going to create one first is going to create one code that they're going to get on a plan in mind. Then you're going to execute. They're going to write some code using Git, and they will going to proceed with the operation team. That the code which they have created will be transferred into operation team. Then operation team will going to perform some tasks, and they will going to check whether there is they will going to perform some continuous testing using Selenium. Then what there is there any bugs or is there any failures will going to happen. Everything will be performed using in the operation team by the operation team. But if in the meantime, the development team will be ideal. The development will continually waiting for the approval. We going to give waiting for the feedback. What the feedback is going to be given by operation team. Whether the code is success or is there any bugs present in the code which they have provided or provided to the operation team. The operation team will be eagerly waiting for the development team to provide a code with bug free. That is what the previous days are doing. To in order it is see in the meantime, if one team is performing tasks, the other team is going to be ideal. It is a downtime. It is going a lot of time consuming process. In order to overcome to break this break the gap between operation team and development team, we have introduced DevOps. This is the main purpose of using DevOps. Okay. Now look at here SDLC. SDLC is nothing but a software development lifecycle. A software. What is the meaning? What is the main intention of using software? It's to run an application, to create an application. That is the main intention of creating one software, right? Okay. There are mainly three types of applications. One is called as web applications, desktop applications, mobile applications. Desktop applications is nothing but the application which going to use in Windows, and desktop web applications you're going to use in web browsers like uh, Microsoft Edge or Chrome driver. And if you talk about these mobile applications, we all know that mobile applications what we're going to use in our Android mobile phones, and how we can going to create software applications. That is what the main intention, main objective here. Software development lifecycle process. How the software development process is going to be doing means, if you observe here, first the developer or the person or some particular team will going to look for the required analysis. They will going to analyze what are the required things to build, to create, to provide a application into environment to proceed for that. First, they required analysis plan. Then they are going to design that the requirements. Okay. Then they're going to deploy the code, develop the code actually, not deploy. Sorry, develop. They're going to the developer will going to develop, create, write the code, compile the code, and going to create the artifacts using build tools like Maven or Gradle. Then they're going to test. They're going to test using continuous testing using Selenium, JUnit test cases, a test engine. Okay. And then after they're going to implement or deploy. The implementation or deploy is nothing but both are same. They're going to use tools like the Docker, Kubernetes, and Ansible. Okay. Last but not least, monitoring. Monitoring and maintaining. This will be used for using Nagios or Grafana or Prometheus. Or if you proceed further, we have something called as waterfall methodology. In waterfall methodology, the process will be same. What what we're going to discuss, right? Required analysis. The teams will going to look for required analysis, design, develop, code, test, implement, monitor. But in agile methodology, the process will be same. But the difference, what it's going to be means, going to happen here means, in agile methodologies, it is a e-commerce portal, right? In waterfall methodology, if any bug is happen, if I am doing this, I'm actually I have performed my process. I have taken on a plan and executed, and I have started designing and have written on code. But if there is any error or bug is present in my test, it is present in it is failed in my test, and I got a failure due to some bugs. If that happens, I want to start it from scratch again. I want to start it from the starting point now. In order to overcome, we're going to use agile methodology. Agile methodology. Agile methodology is, it is an iteration process. It is nothing but repeated process. Even like e-commerce portals like Tatkal, railway. When you talk about railway department, Tatkal, or if you look into it, shopping websites like Flipkart, Amazon, these are e-commerce portals, right? If anything happen wrong is present in any of my see, if these are e-commerce portals, if anything is problem with any particular like add to cart, place the order, there all any bug is present in particular option, we can fix it. No need to start it from our scratch. This is the main difference between agile methodologies and monolithic application waterfall methodologies. Okay, but in agile methodology, we can analyze, design, code, test, and we can't deploy it to production. We can't deploy it into production. That is the main drawback of using this agile methodology. In order to overcome this drawback, we have implemented Devops. Okay. In order to overcome this drawback from agile methodology, we have introduced Devops. In Devops, see, already I have mentioned here in agile methodologies, there is two monolithic application architecture. In agile methodology, we can achieve continuous delivery but not functional deployment. We're going to look into it, what is the deployment and delivery also. Yeah. Now, this is the difference between monolithic application architecture and microservice based architecture. In monolithic application architecture, we see how it's going to be. We can perform all things, but we can't track the changes. In micro-based architecture, we can track the changes. We can make any incremental changes at every stage. But in one of the application, it is about drawback. We can't make any changes. If you want to make changes, we need approvals from another team also. That is the main drawback. But here we can at every individual stage, if there is any drawback or we want to fix any debug, we can proceed it without it won't it won't disturb the other teams. Okay, other team performance of the application. Okay, if you go for another team, see what is DevOps and various teams in DevOps. The teams which are involved in DevOps means infrastructure team, development team, testing team, releasing management team, production support team, production monitoring team, security team. If you talk about infrastructure, we already discussed it about in my another video. I told you what is the infrastructure team. Infrastructure, it is mainly used for creating infrastructure. We're going to use infrastructure using Terraform in the Visual Studio IDE. Okay, the provisioning the servers and performing the servers and application configurations. Infrastructure team is nothing but which people who are working on Terraform and Ansible. Those are the three. The infrastructure team is nothing but the team which is going to use infrastructure as a code using the tools like Terraform and Spoon. And we have something called development team. Development team is nothing but develop the application. Use it to develop the applications. We're going to use IDE platforms like integrated development from IDE integrated development environment like Eclipse, PyCharm, etc. and Visual Studio. And if you talk about testing teams, like testing team is nothing but to test the applications. Okay, we're going to use in Devops. There is something called as Selenium, which is going to use for continuous testing. Okay, there are, even though there are some tools like JUnit test cases or TestNG, but the high level tool which is using most probably in these days is for automation testing is Selenium. And we have something called release management team responsible for timely release of software products, production support teams for production maintenance, from production monitoring team monitoring the production environment applications. You're going to continuously monitoring the applications like under production environment using this Logos or Grafana, Prometheus security teams enforce the end-to-end security policies. If you observe in WhatsApp, if you're going to delay some messages, it will going to showing on what pop-up message like the messages are send enforced to end-to-end encryption. It is nothing but only you and the client, only you and the opposite person will be able to see or delete the messages. And other than that, no other person going to read that messages. Even though it is WhatsApp owner also, okay, WhatsApp client, whoever may be, the one who is going to operate. This is the main intention of security team, right? Only the client and the developer will going to know the changes, what are the changes are made. Okay, this is the main purpose of using. This is the main purpose of using is continuous security. And if you talk about this DevOps tools, the tools which going to use it in every stage. If you talk about continuous development is nothing but ID. Continuous develop Continuous development is nothing but it is a tools which is going to use for developing the applications. Okay, required rewriting a source code, compiling, building artifacts. Okay, using these tools like Eclipse, based IDEs like integrated development environments like Visual Studios, GTSM tool, PyCharm, etc. And if you talk about continuous integration is to proceed for further changes in the artifacts for further testing using Jenkins. Jenkins is the main tool where all the continuous integration only we're going to perform all the changes and we're going to create a script declarative pipeline in Jenkins itself. And we're going to perform continuous integration using Jenkins and build tools like Maven, Ant, and Gradle. And if you talk about for continuous testing, we're going to use Jenkins and test automation tool like Selenium. We have already discussed that the famous tool which we are going to using for present days, continuous testing using Selenium. And if you talk about here, JU test cases and TestNG and Selenium, these three are the main tools we use for continuous testing. Apart from all these two, Selenium is the famous one. If you observe here, Jenkins is going to involve in every stage except the development. And if you talk about continuous delivery and continuous deployment, the tools which you use for continuous delivery and deployment is Jenkins, Ansible, Docker, and Kubernetes. In Ansible only, we're going to configure the continuously configure. Ansible is mainly used for continuous configuration, right? And inside it only we're going to deploy our applications. Okay. If you talk about continuous monitoring is mainly used for to monitor, to check the status, how it's performing. Is there any bugs? Is there anything happening? Is there anything going wrong? Or it is performing very well? That is the main intention of using continuous monitoring. The continuous we can monitor the application or the production environment continuously using Grafana, Prometheus, or Logos or Splunk. And if you talk about infrastructure as a code, there are tools like infrastructure as a code like Terraform, the famous tool which going to using we continuously using nowadays is infrastructure as a code tools like Terraform, Ansible, and some tools like CFT, RM, and for mainly now there is a high demand for Terraform also. Okay, and if you talk about DevOps stages for continuous development, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. For continuous development, it is used to improve the productivity of a developers, and continuous integration. Integrate the changes for further testing. Promote the artifacts to higher level aware environment for further testing. It will going to check the changes. It will going to check for the any bugs, any failures, any mistakes is happening in the code, and it going to integrate for further testing using the testing tools like Selenium and other others using this Jenkins itself, and TestNG or Java test cases and continuous testing. That's what we are taking to automate the testing. Okay, in continuous integration only, we're going to integrate the for further testing. Okay, in continuous testing, we're going to check for any box is available in the code. Okay, and continuous delivery. The main difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment is nothing but in continuous delivery we need approval from manually. Okay, from a particular teams or particular management we need manual approval. That is the main drawback, and it needs some downtime. Whether the person will be available or support team is available, we continuously waiting for her or his approval. Okay, that is somewhat that brings us somewhat downtime. Okay, example like banking application. If you think about banking application, if we are using some everyone is using accounts like SBA, HDFC, whatever may the application banking. Okay, if you observe here, sometimes SBA is going to send you a notification like today the bank server will be low from morning onwards evening. In the meantime, they will be developing some code. They will be making some incremental changes to the application. That is the main thing. What is going to happen in continuous delivery? It is the main example of showing. That is the main intention of showing this banking application to you for continuous delivery. It is going to bring some downtime to the application or downtime to the teams. That is the main drawback of using continuous delivery. And if you talk about continuous deployment, the approach it doesn't require any manual approvals. It is going to production release or fully automated. It is going to be releasing continuously. See, in 2007, Netflix has launched this online streaming, but in 2014 it faced on problem, and for 1 hour it's not able to work the application which they have created, and it brought a very loss to nearly 2 crores loss to the Netflix. In order for the Netflix team or the Netflix client kept it in mind, and he has used this DevOps in 2014. With that, they have overcome, and now it's successfully launched, and it's successfully streaming now without any errors. Without any errors. Now, if you these are some examples like Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Facebook are used for continuous deployment, for continuous delivery, banking applications. In continuous deployment, there will be no downtime. That is the main difference between the continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And if you talk about the development, DevOps managed services or tools provided by cloud services providers like AWS, Azure, and GCP. See, if you want to build an application or do project, we can't. It is a somewhat expensive to buy a Windows, to buy a operating system, to perform, to buy a tools and everything. And in on-premises means it requires a high amount. It will have to spend a high amount. Okay, in order to overcome, we're going to use cloud services like pay for what you use. We want to follow one slogan or a proverb like pay for what you're going to use. For that only, we're going to use cloud services like AWS, Azure, GCP, Google Cloud Services, Cloud Platform, or Azure Services, or AWS, Amazon Web Services. By using this, we're going to pay for how much we're going to use, like tools or services. And to talk about the conclusion, finally the conclusion with the implementation, what is the main advantages of disadvantages? There is no disadvantages using DevOps. The only device we can't say that if you going, even though you're going to launch any uh, new system or any new program, process, there might be it is not a bug free. Even though we're going to use i- any applications, there will be some drawbacks. Okay. Okay, you no need to discuss about it. We just discuss about conclusion. I think, but with the implementation of DevOps, the gap between the operation team and development is completely reduced, and it is going to be a time saving process. Okay, it brings stability. It is going to give effective performance on the application. It brought a collaboration between development team and operation team. It has break down the gap between the operation team and development team without staying ideal. It brought the any advantage to the companies with the implementation of DevOps. In future, there will be no bug free. Uh, the main intention of DevOps, implementing DevOps, is to make the code to perform the application very effectively through bug free. Okay, it should not be no downtime. That is the main intention of using DevOps. Okay. I hope I have explained you very well using this PowerPoint presentation about DevOps. Thank you.